We now welcome Lisa Lerer, national politics reporter for the Associated Press, good enough to join us now from Washington. Lisa, let's begin there. With this burgeoning rift now between the president-elect and the CIA, what do you imagine Mr. Trump's motivations are here?
Well, I think, first of all, it's important to do a little bit of fact-checking on what he tweeted out this morning. Of course, these allegations were brought up before the election in October. The Obama administration said that intelligence agencies had some evidence of Russia trying to influence the election. They just didn't know whether they were trying to influence the election on behalf of Mr. Trump, President-elect Trump. That's what the news here. That's what the CIA has told congressional senators in briefings. The FBI, some people in the FBI disagree with that assessment, but there seems to be little dispute that Russia was involved with trying to influence the election. The question is whether they were trying to directly influence it on behalf of President-elect Trump.
Now, this is something, though, that Donald Trump, again, dating back months and months, has absolutely refused to accept. And it certainly now feeds the possibility here of Rex Tillerson as a potential Secretary of State, again, an oil executive, well-known ties to Vladimir Putin, with lawmakers already then on both sides of the aisle here raising concerns. What sort of confirmation hearing would we see?
Well, there's certainly not going to be easy confirmation hearings. Rex Tillerson is someone who has a close relationship with Vladimir Putin. He's one of the few U.S. executives to have that kind of personal relationship. He was awarded a friendship award from Russia, and that's raised a lot of concerns on Capitol Hill, not only among Democrats, but among people like Arizona Senator John McCain, Florida Senator Marco Rubio, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, who are really concerned about the dynamics between Russia and the United States right now, and they see Russia as a foreign power, perhaps meddling in ways that are not comfortable for the U.S. I believe McCain said that hacking was a type of warfare. So the rhetoric is getting pretty heated, and that will certainly, should Donald Trump go with Rex Tillerson, this will certainly make his confirmation an open question. But
we're also seeing the increasing existence of what feels like two realities here. Just this morning, earlier on CBS This Morning, Kellyanne Conway spoke of Rex Tillerson's ties to Russia and to Vladimir Putin as an asset rather than a liability. What do you make of that argument?
Well, look, I think the Trump team is really concerned that by going down this road of investigating whether Russia meddled in the U.S. election, it will delegitimize Trump's victory. I really just don't think that's the question here, right? Free elections are a fundamental tenet of American democracy. If you don't go through the process of seeing whether there was foreign interference, you risk sort of shaking the whole basis of the foundation of our country. So I think a lot of people on Capitol Hill feel that way on both sides of the aisle, and they don't, certainly Republicans on Capitol Hill don't see this as questioning the outcome of the election, and even Democrats, most Democrats don't see it as questioning the outcome of the election. They just think that this is a pressing foreign policy issue that needs to be vetted out.
Perhaps complicating matters here as well. Former UN Ambassador John Bolton, rumored perhaps to be a candidate to be a deputy in the State Department, has in fact said this weekend that he believes that not only perhaps is it not known if Russia was in fact behind the hacking, that it could very well be evidence of a false flag campaign, that in fact it was the Obama administration that could have been behind these hacks. How much does he and this argument complicate matters for Donald Trump?
Look, there's simply no evidence for John Bolton's claims. I think it complicates things more for the Republican Party. This is really the first time since Trump won the election that we're seeing this kind of split between the party and where the president-elect is just really come out in the open. Obviously, he's done a lot of things that conflict with Republican Party orthodoxy. You know, his deal, federal tax incentives for Carrier to keep jobs in Indiana, his critique of Boeing, those are all things that break with decades of Republican principles. The response on those issues were relatively muted. Now you're seeing a much stronger response on Capitol Hill, and that's in part because President-elect Trump is really placing Republicans between him and his administration, which has said that they have no interest in investigating this issue of whether Russia interfered in the U.S. election, and voters, a majority of whom don't trust Russia, and a sizable portion of whom would like to see the U.S. take a tougher line against Russia. So he really is putting his party in a pretty awkward political spot, even before he officially enters the White House.
He also receives or has available to him daily intelligence briefings right now. I want to play just a bit of what he said yesterday regarding these intelligence briefings. Get your thoughts on the other side.
I just want to ask you about your skepticism about the intelligence community. You are getting the presidential daily brief only once a week.
Well, I get it when I need it.
But is there some skepticism?
First of all, these are very good people that are giving me the briefings. And I say, if something should change from this point, immediately call me. I'm available on 1 minute's notice. I don't have to be told, I'm like a smart person. I don't have to be told the same thing and the same words every single day for the next 8 years.
Eyebrows have been raised for 24 hours since that was said. Lisa, your reaction?
Yeah. I mean, look, this is another example of Donald Trump overturning all the norms of the presidency as we know it. Typically, president-elects consume these daily intelligence briefings eagerly. They want to know what's happening in foreign policy, what the intelligence agencies know. Particularly for Donald Trump, who has very little experience in foreign policy, it's a bit confusing why he wouldn't want that information. It's a life or death matter for American soldiers. It can be. So this is just another example where he's sort of overturning the script, and we'll have to see how that plays out as his presidency begins.
Is there a reason to be concerned that Mike Morrell, the former acting director of the CIA, joined me earlier today, and he pointed out that if Rex Tillerson is actually made and confirmed as Secretary of State, that on the national security team, the senior national security team, no one who has either crafted or implemented foreign policy of any kind would be present. How worrisome is that?
Well, I do think it is worrisome. I think crafting foreign policy is not the same as crafting business deals. You have different limitations. Diplomacy is not the same as, leveraging financial assets. But clearly that's not how the president-elect sees it. He's based on the process that we've watched play out since he won the election in terms of him making his picks. He clearly has a very strong preference for executives. He believes that kind of experience and leadership is what he wants in his cabinet.
Lisa Lerer of the Associated Press. Lisa, very much appreciate the insight.
Thanks.